Let's go back to 1946. 1 year after World War II finished, Albert Camus was already well known, not yet as an author, but as a journalist. As such, he had been invited to pronounce conferences in North America, and he could notably discover New York and Easter Range in New Jersey. During this trip, he took notes that were published in 1978 in a short book entitled Journaux de voyage. In New York, Camus was shocked by this search for order and cleanliness that appeared not only in architecture but also in details. He quickly understood that the tidy American landscape was just an illusion. For Camus, the United States, after they won the war, tried to hide the reality of social misery behind a bright scenery, but it was just a trick. Camus also emphasized disparities in New York, where luxurious ambient and wretched living literally coexisted. Disparities were even more flagrant in New Jersey, where the author compared houses to toys and, by the way, described this evenly landscape as a trick that does not even reach its aim to hide the hard reality of the working class. As a summary, when Albert Camus traveled to the United States of America after World War II, he discovered a country that tried to look prosperous and serene thanks to an artificial landscape, but that trick was already unable to hide the reality of social misery. For Camus, American society was trying to cover up and ignore that inglorious reality, but this trick was already ineffective and would crack sooner or later. 13.5 years later, on 4th January 1960, Albert Camus accidentally died in a car crash. He was carrying the manuscript of an autobiographical novel, Le Premier Homme. This unfinished novel was published in 1994. Camus began to write this book during the Algerian War, when he was criticized at length for not taking a stand about this question. This situation was one of the reasons why he undertook to write a book that was meant to exalt his youth memories. One of his aims was to reply to detractors by showing his attachment to his native country was visceral and not intellectual, so that he was not able to lucidly deal with that conflict. But there is more to say. Indeed, Camus clearly depicted native Algeria of his youth as a country that was absolutely not obsessed by order and cleanliness, unlike the America he discovered later. The author seems to emphasize mess and dirt. His youth in popular districts of Algeria appears to have been dominated by dirtiness and indiscipline, but he always sees it as luck. He stresses the fact that young boys in French Algeria were not civilized, but their wildness preserved them from barbarity, which is, on the contrary, represented by a civilized character, the civil servant who captures stray dogs and cruelly treats them. In short, if you compare Camus' diary of travel in North America with his unfinished novel Le Premier Homme, you will be shocked by this opposition between American artificiality and Algerian authenticity. I can't prove it was absolutely deliberate, but there are enough clues to suggest that the author chose to write Le Premier Homme in order to express his rejection of the new man molded by the American way of life. Thanks for your attention.